So this first one is: At opdrage børn er en udfordring for de fleste af os, og man lærer mange ting om sig selv, når man får børn. Okay, think about that for a second. At opdrage børn er en udfordring for de fleste af os, og man lærer mange ting om sig selv, når man får børn. Translating it, it's not so hard if you're already at the intermediate level. Maybe split it into two here, make it a little bit easier. Opdrage børn, what is that? That is to raise or raising children, kids. So to raise children er en udfordring, is a challenge, er en udfordring for de fleste af os, for most of us. Og man lærer mange ting om sig selv, når man får børn. Lære, that is of course learn. And you learn mange ting, a lot of things, many things. Om sig selv, about yourself, about oneself. Når man får børn, når man får børn. When you have kids or children, okay? Yeah. So that is fairly easy. There's not something very complicated here, not really. But if we take a look at it, if we look at it like word classes, you have a word like opdrage. What is that? Opdrage is of course a verb, right? And I decided that the verbs are gonna be blue today. That's just how it is. So at opdrage, well, is technically also a verb. I mean it is, but I'm not gonna highlight it for rest of this video lesson because it's so basic, so I don't have to say it. And if you continue with the verbs, then you also have a word like lære, of course learn or teach, depending on the context. Man lærer mange ting om sig selv. Når man får børn, får of course meaning get or gets, right? Have. Når man får børn. Yeah. So opdrage is to raise, as in to raise children or maybe a pet, but not to raise your voice or raise money for some charitable cause. That's different. Right? Opdrage is for children and in some cases pets. And udfordring is of course challenge. And I guess it goes without saying that this is a noun. So we make nouns red. And udfordring. For de fleste af os. Yeah, and it's important you say fleste af os. Don't say meste af os, because you cannot say en os, but it's still like of people. So therefore it's fleste because it's plural in that sense. Meste af would be if it's something that can be counted. Alright? Så. Man lærer mange ting om sig selv. Yeah. This one is interesting, for, because for has more than one meaning. Sure, it means get or gets or have and stuff like that, but it also means sheep, yeah, the animal. Better write it here so there's no confusion. For also means sheep. That's both singular and plural. Like it får, flere får. I remember back in the day, like 5 or 6 years ago, early in my teaching career, I would give this tongue twister to my students, and I'd say, what was it? For, actually we say for få, for få, I'm not even sure. Yeah, okay, there you go. For få, for. Too few sheeps get too few sheeps. Eh? Or you can say for. Because for is like, let's move on. But it's just like a tongue twister, and it grammatically makes sense. Yeah. Når man får børn, when you have kids, right? Like that. But that's actually all I can say about that sentence. If you're moving on to, der er god grund til at være bange, når man er omringet af 30 hyæner. Der er god grund til at være bange, når man er omringet af 30 hyæner. Some of the words you know for sure, and some of them maybe too could be a little bit tricky. Let's translate it bit by bit. Der er god grund. Now guys, what is grund? Grund means grund. Reason, right? So there is good reason. A good reason. Like it's explainable, it makes sense. Til at være bange. What is that? Til at være bange. To be afraid or scared. Til at være bange. To be afraid or scared. Når man er omringet af 30 hyæner. Når man er omringet af 30 hyæner. When you are... What is omringet? When you are surrounded. Right? That's what that means. You're surrounded. Af 30. Now I could have spelled 30, but I didn't. 30 hyæner by 30 hyenas. Right? That's what that is. When you're surrounded by 30 hyenas. Yeah, I know that's a very useful sentence, very likely scenario, but you know. So if we take a look at this, god grund, there is not so much to elaborate on there. God grund, good reason. Til at være bange. I can imagine that this one, let's highlight it with purple, because this is one that some people might get wrong. As a learner, you might make a mistake here because you're thinking like, okay, so good reason to do something, to be something, and then you might forget to put the at, or you might forget to put the til. Right? But the thing is, you gotta have both. So, det er god grund til. There's good reason for that. The til is connected to the grund. Like, hvad er grunden til det? What's the reason for that? The at is connected to the at være bange, because it's before the infinitive. At være, to be, that's the infinitive of a verb, usually the one you see in the dictionary. Så der er god grund til, you gotta have the til. At være bange, you gotta have the at. Right? That's how it is. God grund til at være bange. Yeah. And når man er omringet af 30 hyæner, når, of course, means when is a different preposition. Let's see. At some point I'm gonna run out of colors here, I guess. I'll just give it this strange color. No, eh? So no is when, but of course no can also mean reach. Like at no is to reach something, ikke, or to make it in time. Jeg når det ikke, I'm not gonna make it. So it could be like, can du nå den? Or vi når det, if I'm gonna use the present tense. Vi når det, we're gonna make it. Like you're running, rushing to the train station, and yeah, you are gonna make it. So, når is also make or reach, like that. Okay, cool. Omringet, that might be new to some of you, but think of it like is sort of like around or about. It depends on the context a little bit. And then the ring is, you imagine a ring, so you have a ring formed around you, and then you have all these Super Saiyans suddenly just surrounding you. And yeah, that's what it is. Omringet. Usually when something has in it, a word, then it's something around, a circumsphere, or, omkreds, omkring, rundt omkring. Yeah, omvej. Well, omvej is actually an exception. But generally speaking, that's what is associated with. Right? Is by. Yeah, let's look at that for a second. At some points I'm gonna reuse some colors here, so be it. Is by. So if you are passive, if something is being done to you, and you are the object, not grammatically necessarily, but you are on the receiving end, then it's Han blev spist af, he was eaten by. Jeg blev betalt af, I was paid by. And in this case, they're surrounded by, omgivet af, omringet af. Så ja, 30 hyæner Not so much to say it's an animal that nobody really likes due to a certain movie from 1994. There's been some harassment towards them, but anyway, I digress. Let's just focus here. So, if we're moving on, we have han synes på ingen måde, at det lyder som en god idé. Han synes på ingen måde, at det lyder som en god idé. It's kind of easy, depending how you look at it. Synes, what is that? Synes is of course think, right? Like an opinion. He thinks, or he doesn't think in any way, more natural translation. He doesn't think in any way, or not at all. At det lyder som en god idé. That it sounds like a good idea. Alright? So, not too complicated. But what's interesting here is of course this expression, på ingen måde. If you're going to be literal about it, it is just in no way. Right? På ingen måde. And people say it when they really want to show you that no, not at all, in no way whatsoever. På ingen måde. Yeah. Det lyder som en god idé. Yeah. So we can color that again. Lyder. Just so you're reminded that this is a verb. Det lyder som en god idé. Sounds like a good idea. And actually, I wasn't so strict here, but if we're going to be very correct about it, we're going to have a little accent. Idé. Right? It's okay if you don't put it, but it's better if you do. Idé. Det lyder som en god idé. That's how it is. Yeah. And not so much more to say about this one, other than synes being one of those relatively few verbs that end with an S in the present tense. Because usually a verb will end with an R in the present tense. Jeg har, jeg laver, jeg gør, jeg danser, jeg ser, jeg etc. But synes is different.